My name is Gurtej Singh. The date today is the 8th of February 2014. I was exactly 37 years old. My son Gurtej Singh and I are of the same age. I had no profession at that time. I had served in the Indian Police Service for some time, then in the Indian Administrative Service. But when this morcha of the Akalis started, both the sants wanted me to help them. Sant Longowal approached, and then Sant Gurtej Singh also asked me. So I had retired or resigned from the service, and I was not having any other profession except my ancestral profession of a farmer. In June 1984, I was here in Chandigarh. Prior to that, I last met Sant Gurtej Singh in April. On April 29th, I think I met him last. And thereafter, just before this incident happened, I received calls from him. In fact, one of the persons who was bringing these army men from Hyderabad to Amritsar came and told me 2 days in advance that something is going to happen. They are going to attack the Darbar Sahib, and you better inform the Sant. I informed him. He was known to me from Hyderabad because I was there and I was working there for some time, and the Air Force Academy was in my area, under my jurisdiction, so I had met him. He came and told me that this is going to happen, and I was here in Chandigarh. At that time, a case had been registered against some of us, 4 or 5 of us. The others had taken bail, but before I could do that, there was a law that came in that denied bail to such people. It was about a book written by somebody else, but pushed on to me by interested parties, particularly General Puller. So I was asked I approached the SSP, who was my batchmate. Gurtej Singh was the SSP at that time over here, and he advised me to go to the Darbar Sahib to save myself. I was preparing to go to the Darbar Sahib, but somehow somebody's clothes, some bride's clothes, had to be delivered to my wife's cousin in the village. So we went to deliver those on the 1st of June. And thereafter, in the evening, we returned to our village, and then there was the curfew all around the Punjab and nobody could move. So this is where I was in June. And after I informed the Sant, I received several calls from him. Every time somebody would say, that was on the 31st evening or even the 30th evening, every time somebody said, Sant ji gall karange, thereafter the telephone would go dead. The next day, on the 1st of June, there was no response to the telephones in that place. So this is what the issues that I have. This is what I remember from those days. It was a heart-rending kind of a situation in which you felt so helpless, and you were all the time regretting that you were a part of this country where there is no respect for your religion, and where the holiest people can be shot dead just because they don't fit into the ideology of others. And it was something like people feeling that if you had an atom bomb, this is the time you would use it on this country. That's how I felt. At that time, I was in Delhi, and I had just gone over to Ghaziabad when I heard of this killing of Indira Gandhi. On the news were available, though I think they were not broadcast by our people, by the Indian side. But the BBC had announced it earlier, and they were just saying that she has been hurt, and there was no news that she is dead. But we could make out from the kind of programs going on the All India Radio, because radio was the best source of information at that time. They had sad songs, patriotic songs going on, and so we could make out that she is dead. I was in Ghaziabad at that time, on that day when she died. We planned to move out of that place because we were suspecting that there would be some reaction. We wanted to go over to a village in Tarai, and we started the next day with whatever we had, whatever kind of weapons we could have, and went into that place by car. Initially we thought of going by train, and because that was considered safe. But fortunately we didn't take a train, because even in Ghaziabad there were some casualties on the train. We went by a car, and that was all. That area that we traveled through was Muslim dominated, so there was no trouble. And I had to stay there, put for a month, good month or month and a half in that area. After November 84, after the killings, after about a month or so, I was staying with a family. They were farmers, so they were connected to the revenue department, and all these surveys are done through the revenue department. So they told me that Patwari had come, and he was asking how many people have got their hair cut after this, and they are collecting these figures from everywhere. Rajiv wants to know what has been the effect of what he did to the Sikhs in Delhi and all throughout the country. No, I couldn't live in my house because I was informed by somebody in the administration that the government intended, or whatever the power at that time, the military had taken over, they intended to kill me. So I had to remain outside the state for about 4 years before I could come, because of that case that they had registered. Everybody else in that case, General Puller escaped to England, and that case was designed to help him and to help him escape and gain some credibility in the other countries that he had been. Actually, they were designated by the government to go and suppress the public opinion that was rising against them. But I got caught into that, though I had no, it was about a book. I had no hand in the preparation of that book. I had just seen the manuscript and corrected it at several places. And somehow that they asked me if they can put my name into that as an author. I said no, because I am not the author. You put the author's name. So they said, how we want to associate you with it. This will sell better in the foreign countries. So I said, you can say that I helped in the preparation of this book by going through the manuscript. This is what you can say. So very cleverly, they didn't put any author's name. They just put the names of those people who had helped in preparation of the book. So I became one of the authors by that scheme. So that case had been registered, and I was wanted, and without any, it was all informal. So when I inquired what they wanted to do with me, they said they are not only, the ADC informed me that they are not only after you, they are after your blood. They want to kill you. So I had to remain for some time. And earlier to that, when I was advised to go to the complex to escape any mishap, after that, about 10 days after that, my obituary appeared in the Indian Express. He was such this kind of a man. He was not really very sympathetic to the state, and he was very much against the Muslims and this and that. So I was one who read my own obituary. That was very lucky in a way. So that confirmed that they were after, they wanted to kill me. They continued to try that. Some people had nakas around my village and tried to find me out in my place where I usually used to go to relatives, etc. But they couldn't locate me because I had gone to a different location altogether. So I was underground for some 4 years after that to escape this kind of a fate. Some people try to make it personal. They say that Indira Gandhi was angry with the Sikhs for that 1975 emergency and the part they had played in opposing her. Nobody else was opposing them. Only the Sikhs were in the forefront. That is one factor. That I think is one factor. But if you trace the history of India since 1947, or maybe even earlier, what you find is a continuous sense of hostility to the Sikhs throughout history, and it intensifies after 1947. In the Constituent Assembly itself, Sardar Patel, who is being so much lauded today, he is the one who said that the Sikhs are now, when the Sikhs asked for the promises to be encashed because we were free now, and the promises that they had made for independent or autonomous region in the north where Sikhs could breathe air of freedom in the floral words of Jawaharlal Nehru. They said, you are asking for another partition of the country. And Gandhi started preaching against us in his prayer meetings. He would go to the extent of imagining incidents and blaming the Sikhs for them. Any violence that took place anywhere, he would say the Sikhs are behind it. Once he gave a story to the press. He knew that everybody in the world was listening to him because there was such a hype about his name and about the way the country had obtained its freedom, whatever it was worth. So he was sure that everybody, the whole press was paying attention to him. And he used that press to preach against the Sikhs at all times. One day he put out a story that so many people have been killed in that area, and I understand they are down with sword wounds, and so many people are in the hospital. They have received sword wounds, and the Sikhs are responsible. Sikhs must not do this. They must not kill the Muslims. So some of the doctors who were being trained in Pakistan, in Lahore, they had been dislocated, and some of them were Sikhs. One of them was Dr. Gurtej Singh. They formed a team to inquire about these happenings in the hospital. When they visited that hospital, particular hospital where these people were injured were lodged, they found that they had all bullet injuries, and they had been shot at by Sardar Patel's police, and they told them the Sikhs had nothing to do with it. So they took Pyare Lal, who was Gandhi's personal secretary. They took him along and showed him everything. Then they approached Gandhi and asked him to contradict what he had said in the press the other day, and he refused. He said, "No, today is my silence day. I will not speak. So they said, you please write it down. He said, no, I will not write. I will not sign anything like that, but I will contradict it later on, which he never did. So he was going through that propaganda. This kind of propaganda continued against the Sikhs. When we asked for Punjabi Suba, Jawaharlal Nehru's strongest objection was that we are asking for another division of the country. Whereas when it happened, everybody knows that it was not a division, and it is a territory based on the linguistic people who speak the same language. It's a linguistic area. So Nehru was propagating against us. And then came Indira Gandhi. Now basically, at the time of Indira Gandhi, Nehru supported these Namdharis against the Sikh establishment, tried to wean away Sikhs to that sect. Indira Gandhi had her Nirankaris, and she tried to similarly promote some other sects. Sant Gurtej Singh, during the emergency of 75-77, he led several processions, about 40, against the Nirankaris. So Nirankaris were on the wane. The entire position of the government and these political parties who were running the government has been to wean away Sikhs to different sects and these cults, Radha Swamis, Nirankaris, Panyara, now it is Ashutosh, now it is Sarsa. They have been trying this. So what I see is, in this entire thing, after having made a very in-depth study of the situation since 1900, going through Tagore's write-up against us, and then Gandhi's following it up, then the Constitution of India declaring us to be Hindus, and so on. What I find is that they are uncomfortable with the Sikh faith, because it preaches equality, because it preaches some kind of ideas that they don't like. And what they don't like is they want to govern a limited number of people, governing the entire country with the lowest strata, which they call lower caste, always in the position of slaves. Now Guru delivered us from this. He said, you are not to consider yourself inferior to anybody, and I want my Sikhs to be, the words used at that time were Hanne Hanne Meer, a king in every saddle. So this was Guru's philosophy, and they had been ruling this entire country for ages. They had influence of political kind over them, even during the Mughal period, British period. But all along, they had the social influence over the rest of the people, whom they propagated as low caste or untouchables, and so on. So this was the situation. Now what comes? Who opposes that kind of society? Throughout history, it is the Sikh people. They stand for a different kind of society, in which there is equality, there is social justice, and there is rule of law, and every man is to be independent. Every woman, for that matter, also. But every person to be equal, and society based on justice. Their entire thing is based on, entire social system is based on injustice. So they wanted to get rid of this challenge to the present setup, and that is why the Sikhs have been under attack and are still under attack for the same reason. Because today's rulers also want except for perhaps the AAP party, which is still to be evaluated in its impact is still to be seen, and we'll see how it works out. Except for them, everybody wants an unjust society in which they remain the rulers, their sons succeed them. And that's the reason why they attacked us. That's the reason why they wanted to destroy the Akal Takht, which is a symbol of sovereignty of the people. 30 years later, it is the same pain. It is very difficult to bear it. It comes up again and again. But until there is and I always keep on fearing that this can happen to us anytime again. They are preparing for this kind of a thing. Every time they try to propagate against us, and they send out their hate messages, I see that they are trying to prepare again for this kind of a situation. And now we are worse than before, in the sense that we don't have proper leadership also. The kind of leadership that we have is the leadership that has already become complacent, and they have joined the oppressors. They are the collaborators. So in this situation, it's very, very difficult for us to, but there is hope in the Guru. The Guru is very kind, and he is the one who created the Khalsa. So their entire effort is to wipe us out. And the effort continues. It is not ended.